The greatest adventure is what lies ahead. Today and tomorrow are yet to be said.
Hello everyone, no one of consequence here, back again with a new video. This is episode 46 in a series which recounts my ongoing Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which is now in its 10th year. If this is your first visit to my channel, you might want to go back and start with part 1 of this series so that everything will make more sense. So as always, spoiler alert, in this video I will be revealing details found in this adventure module. And just as a reminder, this is the current composition of the adventuring party. The only change from last time is that after the conclusion of the Frost Giant adventure, everyone advanced to 9th level. And also, just as a refresher, this is the current group of the characters NPCs, and unfortunately the update there is that Athos the owl, who belonged to Thorol, died in the Frost Giant caves, but Thorol brought him back home here, and as you can see in this screenshot, he made a little memorial stone for the owl. So this is the updated roster of NPCs. However, none of them were taken to the Frost Giant lair. The characters didn't see any real need to bring any of these NPCs along. However, they did bring along their 2 new guard dogs, and these guard dogs were seen briefly at the end of the last video, but I wanted to more thoroughly introduce them. So first we have the dog Brazen Hazen, owned by and named by Gorbadoc the Halfling. And of course, the name of the dog is in reference to Hazen, the ruler of Valuna. And as you can see there, well, we introduced this guy several videos back, but he is, as I said, the ruler of Valuna, and he's also a priest of St. Cuthbert. So this is just yet another example of Gorbadoc's ongoing blasphemies against St. Cuthbert and his priests. Then the other guard dog was purchased by and named by Varys, the elf. And this dog is Spuds Mackenzie. And I included here a part of the Wikipedia entries. Especially some of the younger viewers who may be watching might not be aware of this advertising mascot. And as you can see in the Wikipedia extract, it was used by Bud Light in the late 1980s. And so, again, this is who Varys named his dog after. I just want to point out that this particular adventure session took place in early October of 2020, so that predates by a few years any current controversies that you may be aware of regarding the Bud Light brand. So I just wanted to point that out. But anyway, again, I just wanted to more firmly establish the identities of these 2 guard dogs, because they will be appearing in videos for a long time to come. Okay, so where we left off last time, the characters had returned to the Frost Giant lair, and specifically to the teleportation portal that they had found, where they were sure that the Frost Giant Jarl had escaped them, and the characters, before they tried to use it themselves, they put a barrel of torches in it and activated the lever, and it disappeared in a flash of light. So really, there was nothing for it but to just get in there themselves and activate it and see where it took them. So, where it did take them, and these are a couple of illustrations I presented to the players when they first got there, where it did take them was up in some mountains somewhere with active volcanoes and rivers of lava and so forth, and a fitting setting for fire giants. And not too far away from where they arrived, just like with the other giant modules, the characters found a small cave that they could utilize as a hideout and a base of operations. So the characters went in there, and although they did not bring any pack animals this time, they did carry along with them plenty of extra supplies. So after dropping off the extra stuff in this hideout cave, then the characters went back out to begin exploring. And a couple of miles away, at the on a very tall cliff face, the characters located what they could only assume was the entrance to the fire giant lair. It was two huge obsidian doors over 30 feet tall, set in this cliff face that I mentioned. The characters, they were figured the doors were locked. They were too heavy really to easily move, and they were secured. So Thorol used a knock spell, which opened one of the doors. Aramis went up and peeked inside and was immediately confronted by a fire giant guard. So this guard sounded a alarm horn that he was carrying and began fleeing up the entrance hall. However, Niobe had used the foresight to cast a silence spell up ahead to prevent any noise from traveling deeper inside the fire giant lair, and the characters all rushed inside and caught up with the fire giant, and he was soon defeated. So after that, Gorbadoc took out a Halloween reward item that he still had, a witch's broom, and you can see the description there. And as I mentioned a little while ago, this particular adventure session took place in early October of that year. And so again, there was an urgency on the part of the players to use up any remaining Halloween reward items that they were still carrying before they expired. So again, Gorbadoc took out this witch's broom, and Varys hopped on board too, and together they flew up to the ceiling, which was more than 30 feet above, and then they went further down this entrance hall to scout ahead. So they got to the end of the entrance hall, and it opened up into what could only be described as a great hall with two rows of pillars going down the length of it, and the whole place was illuminated by these gas jets of flame shooting out of the walls that provided both light and heat, which of course fire giants like. So again, keep in mind in the screenshot, Varys and Gorb are 30 plus feet up in the air. They're not at ground level, so these Ettins would not have immediately seen them. But what they did, they quickly devised a plan where Varys cast a hallucinatory terrain spell, and that's depicted by that green line that's pointed out there in the screenshot. And the purpose was to conceal the party from the Ettin's view so that they could travel through this area and continue on further to the north. Now he's not visible in that screenshot that I just showed, but from their viewpoint, high up by the ceiling, Varys and Gorb could also see that King Snurry himself was seated on his throne at the far end of that great hall. So in this screenshot, the characters are using Varys's hallucinatory terrain spell, plus Niobe cast a silence spell on a torch, and so both of these were able to conceal the characters passing through from the Ettins that were standing guard. And you can see the characters moving up from the bottom of the screen and then traveling to the northwest at the top of the screenshot. And again, like I say, there was a silence torch, but also those gas jets mounted in the walls were making noise too. And so all of that combined to allow the characters to move through this area without even being seen by those Ettin guards. So once they were clear of the Great Hall, the characters saw two fire giants standing guard at some kind of entranceway leading to the east. So Thorl immediately cast a haste spell on the party, and then the characters moved in to attack. And just as a precaution, they also left the silence torch on the ground behind them to help prevent any sounds of battle from traveling back down into the Great Hall. And they're not visible here, but the characters also saw to the west some gnolls down in an area down in that direction that appeared to be baking bread in a large oven. And again, that arrow points the direction where that is. But right now they're focusing on those two fire giants. So the two fire giants were defeated, but by that time, the characters had been noticed by these bread-baking gnolls. And they had, in turn, began calling for help to some other unseen creatures. So next, the characters charged in their direction to take advantage of Thorl's haste spell, which was still in effect. And so going down in that area, it turned out that there was a kitchen area to the south, which was staffed by some female fire giants and also those gnolls. And several of the characters moved down in that direction to attack. But the characters noticed that there was also a storeroom to the north. So this screenshot just shows a critical hit that Varys scored on a gnoll. And the screenshot again just shows the battle as it is progressing. And Niobe had been keeping a watch on that storeroom to the north, and at this point she called out to the others that the monsters that were in that storeroom had noticed what was going on in the kitchen and were preparing to attack. So Niobe and Obrak went in that direction to engage those monsters and to keep them from coming down into the kitchen. And meanwhile, the characters that were in the kitchen were making progress and had been eliminating the monsters in there. And this screenshot just shows a critical hit that Garrett scored against probably one of the fire giants with his bow. And the screenshot, there are a couple of screenshots here that show more critical hits that the characters had rolled. And then finally, after several more rounds of combat, all of this kitchen staff here, they were all defeated. And while they had a moment of quiet, the characters quickly helped themselves to some freshly baked bread and roasted meat. And after that, they returned back out into that hallway where those fire giant guards were and continued exploring to the north. They soon came to a Y intersection and they decided to go to the northwest, pointed out here. But before they went in that direction, they left their silence torch at the entrance to the northeast passage, again to help keep any sound from traveling in that direction. The character soon discovered a ramp that led deeper underground, pointed out here. However, they decided to ignore it for now. And instead, the characters first wanted to see what was behind a heavy red curtain to the north, pointed out here. They were mainly interested in that curtain because they could hear fire giant voices coming from behind it. Okay, well, that's all I have for now. Again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. I always like to hear comments. Let me know what you think. And if you can, share the video. And anything you can do to help support the channel, I appreciate it. Thanks again. Bye for now.
The greatest adventure is what lies